Linux Academy had a role open for a cloud training architect. All right. So this is what I did. I went in and I interviewed for that. I applied and I interviewed. And they gave me a demo to do to see if I could teach the stuff, right? And I could understand the technical part. And this demo pretty much scared the shit out of me because it was something I never did. Like, here I am, I performed in front of thousands of people. You know, I did music videos. I went to conventions to sell sneakers with thousands of people and had conversations. But this little demo that was 5 minutes long I had to do scared the living out of me. I did the video, they came back and they said, the video was great, we loved it, but you don't have enough experience for this role. All of the training architects have 8 years of experience or more. Not knowing that he already did this the day before, he said, but I love your hustle. I love that you went out there and got certified. I love that you were just passionate about what you're trying to do. I created a role for you yesterday. And he was like, you got any questions? I was like, yeah, man, when do I start? And he was like, go ahead and tell your wife that you accepted a position at Linux Academy. And bruh, I ain't even finished my lunch. I went straight to the bank to put that 2 weeks notice in. Y'all lucky I don't leave this joint today. You lucky I don't walk out today. I'm telling you that right now. Don't make me mad because my black ass will be in the car today. You know what I'm saying?
Man, hey, hold on. How much was that salary, man? How much was that salary?
So he started me off with 90. So I went from 42K to total compensation package of 6 figures.
This video is being sponsored by Level Up in Tech. What's going on, everyone? If you're interested in starting your career in the cloud, then Level Up in Tech is the program for you. Level Up in Tech is a comprehensive program that spans over 24 weeks. Here are some of the skills you can learn up in the Level Up in Tech bootcamp. You can learn Linux, AWS, infrastructure as code, programming, CI/CD, monitoring, containers, orchestration, and more. Here are some of the jobs that you'll be qualified for after completing the program. Junior or Associate DevOps, Engineer, Cloud Engineer, Associate Cloud Automation Engineer, Cloud Infrastructure Engineer, Site Reliability Engineer, Cloud Specialist, Cloud Developer, and Cloud Sales Engineer. Level Up in Tech has a 67% passing rate, and they have helped over 800 students meet their goal of having careers in the cloud. If this interests you, please check out the description or check out the first comment pinned in the video to start your cloud career journey with Level Up in Tech.
Well, I was going to ask you about your shoes, which I probably can throw that in there later because I have a question related to that anyway. But, man, this probably going to put you on the spot. I'm not going to tell you, do top 5, your top 5 rappers. I think that's a good question for you.
Top 5 rappers, bro. Oh, man. In no particular order, though. Okay. Right now, like, I still rock with Kendrick. I'll listen to some Kendrick. To be honest with you, man, Kodak got it right now for me. I like Kodak. Let's see. I mean, you know, if you want consistency, right? I mean, you definitely take some Drake, you know. Who else right now? I'm liking NLE Chopper records. And I like there's a few of them, but I like the boys. I'm not gonna say I necessarily like their records, but I like their raw and grittiness that they bring to the table when they rap. What is it? Coast Contra. I don't know if you heard of them. Yeah. They spit some fire, man. But I'm trying to think of, like, when I put on something, what am I putting on? I'm putting on, I mean, it could be anything from Tory Lanez to anything from Tory Lanez to Meek. You know, some of Meek records. You know, definitely. But top 5 right now. If somebody came on and somebody said, hey, So I like J. Cole. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the best rappers, but like I don't listen to him. Like it's one of those things. Like so, put it like this. Like yo, yeah, right. So like we know Jay, Eminem, all them up there, but like I mean I ain't listened to Jay in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So J. Cole is the same thing. Like if you come through town, we there, right? But like right now, if I gotta put on something, it's gonna be I like Lil Durk, right? Lil Durk getting better. Yeah. Yeah, bro. I was literally about to say that, right? Like what happened? Because Lil Baby album. Oh, one person I'm gonna tell you straight up. There's two people that I really like. Um, Moneybag Yo getting better, and 4-2. I like 4-2, bro. Like
Used to like four. I didn't used to
yeah,
like 4-2, but when that dropped, now I
yeah,
was like, oh, hey, the beat finna be fire. Okay.
yeah. 4-2 come through. I like his energy. I just like authentic. Like it's some people that you could tell, like my son. And no disrespect, like my son listened to these rappers like oh man, I can't even think of it. Yeet and all this. My son 14, so he listens to like Yeet and all these other rappers, and I'm like, I, it just ain't authentic to me. Even though Kodak, still rap about the streets and stuff. I mean, that's authentic though. He being himself. I mean? He telling his story. Like he tell you the demons he fighting to anything. And that's what the art is all about. And look, my son texts me now because he probably hear me talk about you. He's talking about no, I don't. You a lie. Get out of here.
18 and 19, so they're like younger than me, and they listen to like my younger brother. One of them tries to put me on rappers, and some dude named No Cap. I heard some stuff about him. I'm gonna try to give him a shot.
Cap.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I heard him. No Cap. I mean, there's some up and coming rappers right now that are dope, but I'm not hearing enough of them right now. Right now, like I'll definitely listen to a whole Kodak album. I'll listen to that. So yeah,
Over the last couple of years, I'm you know what? I'm gonna put him in the top 5 because I listen to him more often, frequently, pretty much the last 3 years. Gotti, I've been listening to more Gotti in the last couple of years, and I just like his growth, but also what he's talking about and what he be standing for. Drake is also my favorite rapper because I've been listening to Drake since I've been like 15, 16 years old, and we're going to the concert next month, so that's gonna be dope.
yeah. I just went 2 weeks
Oh yeah,
ago. So yeah. Well, he come. You in Dallas,
yep,
right? Yeah, he coming out to Dallas. That's for sure. He coming out to Austin too. Yep.
yeah, him, and it'll be. I probably would say I think Kendrick is a slightly better rapper than Cole, but I probably would put Cole over Kendrick because I listen to Cole more than Kendrick. Far as Cole really his fan base is like around my age, people that was in college and doing all this other stuff. Like we grew up listening to J. Cole and doing homework and stuff. And then I really don't have a 4 or 5. It depends. It's fluid. As Stephen A. say, it's fluid. I used to like because I'm a big advocate for a person. I'm gonna say that people don't give him his props, but when he spaz on tracks, I say when he rap like this, he like top 5 of his era, and that's Big Sean. Like when Big Sean rap, like what's that, Paradise?
I think it goes over people's heads.
When Big Sean rap on like songs like
Yeah.
Paradise and Sacrifice, talking about Mr. Anderson, I'm in the Matrix, and when I like when he started rapping fast like that, I said, you can't get it. You know what? Before we intro the pod, I'm gonna throw 2 Chainz in there because when you go back and listen to 2 Chainz,
Oh, he got
2
better.
Chainz got
It's
better, and like his as simple as bars, they hit. Like I go back and listen to Chainz all the time, and I
Yo,
start laughing like
yeah.
Titty Boy be in there, man. But welcome back, everybody, to episode 98 of the Tech Talk podcast. I'm your host HD, where we talk about everything from tech, careers, money, rapping, you name it. Today we got a special guest with us, none other than Mr. Broadus Palmer. You've seen him in publications like LA Weekly, NYC Weekly, Business Insider. He be on your LinkedIn's, your Instagrams. I haven't been on his Instagram yet, but I got some questions to ask him. But we just want to welcome him into the pod today, and he gonna rock out with us. So let's go ahead and give him a round of applause real quick. Yo, man, I appreciate you. We've been trying to do this, I think, for like the last month. We've been both pretty busy, but we here now. We here now, episode 98. I remember when you was getting hot, and then I was just starting my thing. And I remember everybody like around like 3 years ago when everybody really was just starting everything. And now look how far everyone's come. It's 3 years. So I thought it'd be fitting to definitely get you on the pod. And I just want you to tell your guests, the listeners, a little bit about you.
Yeah, me, Broadus Palmer, founder and managing member of Level Up in Tech. I've been in tech for almost 6 years. Former banker before that for about 14 years. Come from a rural part of Virginia where, just poverty and, no opportunities. So I'm just like any one of you. And this is what the gospel I preach is just getting people in tech and showing them that they can do it regardless of their circumstance. If you want the bag, if you want to change your life, trying to, level up in these jobs that are out here in this field, you can do it regardless of what anyone says.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. And I forgot to tell y'all while y'all listening right now, if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please like us, leave a review, share it out so we can get some more subscribers and some more downloads. And if you're on YouTube right now, to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it out for the YouTube algorithm. But so briefly, let's touch on you growing up in Virginia, because one of the things we know with us is we don't see a lot of us at tech. Like even if you go to, like I told people last year when I went to Afrotech, I said, as many Black people it is here, this is like this amount of us in the actual industry. And I just want to talk about that briefly, like kind of like maybe what you were exposed to or your mindset or how things were kind of growing up. Because for me, I know I didn't know anything about cybersecurity till I pretty much was out of college. So I kind of want to just talk about a little bit about like kind of like your upbringing in Virginia.
Yeah, man. So my upbringing was pretty much, the only exposure to tech we really had was like keyboarding class, right? So like when I was coming up, I'm 38. So when I was coming up, it was more so how fast can you type? That would determine if you got like the desk jobs or like the corporate jobs, right? They did little, type speed assessments on you. So as far as tech, that's as far as we knew, like computers, right? Didn't know anything about cybersecurity, didn't know anything about cloud computing, didn't know anything about any just IT infrastructure that was out there. So to be honest with you, like we knew there was a tech industry and I knew there was a tech industry, but I always thought it was for, people who really excelled in that stuff in school. Like they came out the womb understanding computers, understanding the internet, and that's just what they did for the rest of their life. But it wasn't until I was like 32 when I was working at the bank and, a couple of guys came in and their direct deposits was damn near like, well, not damn near, their direct deposit was more than what I was making a month. And that was their, bi-weekly check. So I asked him, I was like, look, what do y'all do for a living? They was like, oh, we in tech. And I'm like, tech? Like, what are y'all doing? And he was like, yeah, I'm a database admin. And the other guy was like, yeah, I'm an engineer. I forgot what type of engineer he said. But what really, really blew my mind was, so in the country, that's what we call it, in the rural area in Virginia, in the country, half of the county was on Fios, but the other half was on like still DSL, like CenturyLink slow speed. And where this dude lived, where both of them lived, was on the half where the DSL was in the county. So he was like, yeah, I work for home. And I'm like, yo, hold up, man. This dude making that much money, sitting at home working in tech, and don't even have the right type of internet speed that we normally would see to get the job done. So I just got curious, man, and I started diving into it, to try to understand what I was going to do, because when I would think about tech, you think about it's a broad industry. It's so many things you can do. So like, what is right for you? So 100 people told me 100 different things. And I was still confused as hell. So, doing research, I did come across this thing called cloud computing technology. And if we got a minute here, I really want to hone in on why that was so important to me. So I'm a sneaker collector. So what we did was, back in the day, like 2015, 2016, we used what we call sneaker bots. So sneaker bots were developed by these developers that we would connect with, that would act as a human, but be able to cart shoes quicker than a normal human can. Cart your shoe quick, check it out in seconds, while a normal human would take, 30 seconds to a minute to try to get the shoe off of Foot Locker or Nike or whatever the case may be. One thing about it, we were using these uh, bots, and we were installing them on Windows servers on what I called at the time Oz. I didn't know it was like AWS, right? So I was like, hey, we download these servers on Oz. So when I start researching and I see this technology called AWS, cloud technology, Microsoft, Google, it literally blew my mind because I was using that and not even knowing it back in the day anyway. And as I started researching more and understanding, hey, this is some shit that's really going to blow up and companies have to use it. I mean, we on Instagram, we on Facebook, you got Snapchat, all these apps use this right now. So why wouldn't this become a regular part of life later on down the line? And that's what ultimately got me thinking like, hey, this is what I can do go into tech and do.
Definitely. And I'm gonna probably expound a little bit more on that later on. That's a short version, guys, if y'all wanted to leave right now. But it's gonna get much more interesting. Now, I want to talk about your career in banking, right? Like, well, you're also, I mean, you are in Level Up in Tech, and so you also have did coaching as well, and I do coaching. And I work with people that come from banking backgrounds, and one of the things they do worry about is maybe their transferable skills or things they can do, that they've been doing in banking for a while. So I kind of want to talk about briefly, I guess, why banking, and then a little bit, I guess, about. I know you were there for about like 14 years. So a little bit, I guess, like how was that experience for you, and how has it helped you, kind of like, in what are you doing now?
Yeah. So to answer your question, why banking, right? So if we're going to be super transparent on the show, I'm going to be super transparent, right? So when I met my wife at the time, we was trying to court, I was in the street trying to do my little thing, right? I ain't had no job. I ain't had nothing, right? And she literally told me, she was like, well, if you want to get with me and you want to be with me, you got to get a job, period. And I didn't have a background, I never got in trouble or anything. So what I did is, I had a friend that worked at this payday loan company that was like, look, I'll get you a job here. Just come in here, dress up. You look the part. I got you. So I came in there, put a suit and tie on, and got the job. They started me off $9 an hour. All right. So from there, I gained the experience of, working in the financing industry, because we had to deal with contracts, payday loans is people, getting money and paying it back every payday. So we had to make sure you get the contract signed every payday. We dealing with, checks and till money, et cetera. And then it just graduated to where I wanted to move forward, and I seen a banking job as a teller that was open, and I applied because I was doing that. I mean, that's pretty much the job I was doing. And that's how I got into the banking industry. And I just worked my way up, man, from teller 1, 2, 3. Then I got into the banking platform. So when you come into a bank, instead of going to the teller, you go to the person in the suit to open the accounts and everything, to talk to. And I just graduated from there, from banker 1, 2, 3 to assistant manager. And really, my mindset was set on, hey, man, if I could make like 50 racks, if I can make 50 racks a year, I'll be good. Let me take care of my family. Let me try to make a manager salary. I'm good. So think about, really, in hindsight, if you think about how small I was thinking, right? If I kept that mindset, we'd still be check to check right now, still be struggling right now. But ultimately, through banking, dealing with different types of people, it is sales, so you're forced to sell, especially when you was working at Wells Fargo and Bank of America. These companies push you to be salespeople. So I think over time it helped me develop a soft skill of communication and problem solving and thinking quick on my feet. Right. So you're dealing with all types of customers every day, from nice customers to rude customers, for customers who have just uh, unique financial situations that you just got to think on your feet all the time. And I think that enabled me, once I was trying to get into tech, be able to communicate and have conversations and be confident. Because one thing I did notice when I was trying to get into tech, those people that were interviewing me really looked like they didn't want to interview me because they were more introvert than extrovert. And sometimes introverts don't want to communicate with people some of the time, right? Or a lot of the time. So I think me being able to have that conversation and keep the conversations going through the interview, ask questions, and really just build a rapport, helped me get into the industry a lot. And that's one thing. If you're in the finance industry, banking industry, you have those skills that you don't even know. You deal with customers every single day. You deal with unique situations every single day. So sometimes your roles in tech is going to be customer facing, whether it's internal or external. And if you understand how to communicate and just be yourself and be a problem solver and think quick on your feet, I think you'll be successful no matter what.
Bars. And also, when you were talking, the last couple of episodes I've had, all of us have had humble beginnings, because even though you are, I'll just say you're a little bit older than me. I'll consider people to be way older than me if they don't know to be my pops or whatever. All of us still grew up in a time where, think about it. I don't know how things were in Virginia, but I'm from Louisiana, specifically Shreveport. Shout out to Ratchet City. And there was a time where you could raise a family, have a house, have cars, take your kids on vacations on a $50,000 salary.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about it. Like somebody says, think about, like, let's be super honest. Somebody tell you back in the day, man, I make $20 an hour. Oh, where the hell you working at making $20 an hour? Hold on, who paying that? Right? If somebody said back in the day $12 an hour,
listen,
bruh, where you working at? That's $12 an hour.
That's facts, and that's not too far long ago. In 2014, I was making 20 an hour, and people was like, "Oh, where you work at?"
Right.
So, like, this is the thing. Like, I only say this because on this podcast, I strive for transparency and to let the people know that sometimes you got to get out your own way and looking at all the people, like whether they're looking at you or some of the other people who are doing different things in tech. I was like, a lot of these people are anomalies. You may get there, you may not, but you'll probably get to a place where you have a really good salary. It may not be 300,000 and you own yachts and doing all this other stuff, but I want them to kind of put their head down, just put the work in, so they don't get dismayed when they come back and like maybe this is the offer what they offer. It's like you got to start somewhere, like. it's just it's a microwave society, and I just every time I'm on here I get a chance to reiterate, because once they see a person like you or like my guy Bobby or Josh or Chloe, and now they see like what they doing now, they say, okay, if I just put the work in, I can get where I need to be. That's all they got to do.
And stop focusing on everybody else. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Your journey is your journey. If I did that, then, well, luckily for me, right, I didn't have no one to compare to, because, I mean, the only people I knew that was actually working in tech was the two gentlemen that I talked to before. And now it was just me just focusing on reaching the goal, just getting my foot in the door and getting out of banking. And, every day you got to put in that work. This ain't no, I'm going to work on the weekends type deal. You got to immerse yourself in this stuff if you want to be successful in it. That's it. Just change your attitude.
Thanks. I told a client that we had a consultation the other day, and I told him, I was like, hey, you can go this route where your skill set is already like in tech sales, and we can move over to do tech sales within cybersecurity. Or if you're really trying to go a technical route, then you got to be willing to put in that 1-2 hours every day and really lock in and still compete against people who've been doing this longer than you. So I was like, the choice is yours. It could be done, but I just let you know what your options are. But so you already covered about moving up the ranks, but I want to ask you real quick, what was that breaking point that caused you to leave banking? And also, I want to ask you, how was it having a family and working a job you hated? So I want to touch on those two things.
Having a family and working a job I hated was just, all honesty, right? Like, for those that know me, like let's start it off. I was a musician, and I was pretty good. So we was in magazines and getting major publications. We performed with major artists and stuff. But what people don't understand is that that's a business in itself. So it take money to make money, especially in music, right? I was clothing designer. I was a sneaker resale company, and we had celebrities buying sneakers from us, etc. And all of those things failed, right? And I always knew that, like, I was destined to do something more than being a banker. It's nothing wrong with being a banker, but I knew that I was destined to do something more than that. So coming home every day, and actually looking at myself like, damn, you about to settle. Because once again, I told you, I was like, look, if I could just make 50,000, I'll just be all right. Let me just make 50,000. Because I thought that was the road. That was it. I'll be a manager, and I'll ride my career out doing that. And it was frustrating too, because you see, once again, like, we had a conversation before this, and I don't know if you want to dive into that, but when I was rapping, we were on stage, and we were frequenting circuits and performing in venues as other major artists that are out today, right? So I see them being successful, and I see other resale companies that I was connected with just go off and just boom, and sneakers. And I was like, man, when is my time? Is it past? And I think the breaking point was one day, I know the breaking point was, I came into the bank, and this lady came in, and she writ me a new one about money that came out of her account that she spent. So for some reason, she thought that I was liable to check to really help her understand where she spent her money, And the thing she said to me was, she was like, Broadus, let me tell you something. She was like, go back on your computer, look at my account, and look at how much money I got. And when you see how much money I got, that's the type of service I expect from you. And I was like, damn, that's how they talking to people now? Like, like, that's how we doing that? Like, you coming in thinking I'm supposed to bow down to you because you got a certain amount of money. And that was the point where I said, hey, I can't do this shit no more. I can't do it no more. I gotta find something. And I guess the stars aligned, because a couple weeks after, those guys came in, and I was like, what do you do? And they told me, and I just took it from there. So I think that was the breaking point that really kicked me off to look for something else.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think that's one of the things too. That reminds me, like, I don't think I ever told this story, but
Man, these folks got their hitty shit, no cap.
uh man, that reminds me of, I want to say I was close to already leaving Target at the time. I worked at Target through college. And in 2014 is when I got back. Well, I graduated late 2013, and I worked there a little bit through 2014 before I started the help desk for TSA. And I remember this irate customer who, I think she was pregnant at the time, was mad at me because we wouldn't sell her something that's on display. And I'm like, we don't sell that. Well, go get the manager. I said, I can go get them. They gonna tell you the same thing, whatever. And they got mad. They tried to find my name and all this other stuff. I was like, bro, I'm so done. Like, I can't. I'm so glad I'm gonna be done with dealing with these people, because like I'm like, I ain't finna take nothing from nobody, and I'm only getting paid $7.75. This job ain't worth it.
Yo,
like, that's why I don't understand.
Hold on, hit the gunshot, man, because they need for real, bro.
Like, that's why I understand why when you go to fast food, they be trying to be stingy with the sauces and stuff. Like, bro, they not even paying you enough to care. Hey, hold on. Matter of fact, hey, listen. shout out to the women in tech, man. They had a black woman got caught. She made a fake employee at Wendy's and was paying them like $20,000 a
Bruh,
day.
I seen that joint. Yo, got him. That's
Hey, she need a
crazy.
job somewhere. Like, shout out to her because
Yo,
to work in fast food now is, unless you're working at Chick-fil-A, like you're not even getting paid decently. You dealing with people, all type of customers. Nah, man, them people, it's rough out there.
attitude. And we want everything quicker and quicker and quicker. Right? So, and a lot of people think just because you work where you work and they're customers, they get to talk to you any type of way. They like, as long as they say do it, you got to do it. And when you sit there and be like, nah, man, we ain't taking this no more, then it's like you out of pocket when they've been out of pocket from the get-go anyway. So look, those people at the fast food companies, I can't take nothing away from you, but I will say this. If you don't want to do that, there's a whole shit ton of things you can do that's better. I promise you that.
I wanted to ask you about, I mean, you went into it earlier, but I was going to ask you about, you said you were using the bots, and that's how you kind of had the revelation about cloud. And I think it's pretty cool how you could do something maybe that's unrelated to something that you don't know what you're doing behind the scenes, but then you realize, oh, that's what that is. Because I've been telling people for years, I was like, hey, all the things we've been watching, like on Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these things like that, like behind the scenes, that's the cloud. That's what's controlling all that stuff. I was like, so you've been interacting and using this stuff for a while. You just didn't know you were using it. And I think people's minds are blown when they find that out. And so I know you said you want to go in the cloud, and when you asked all these different questions, who gave you the most solid advice on jumping into the cloud? That's what I'll probably ask you. Like, who gave you the most solid advice on like what to do?
A lot of people, man, from just, a homeboy. I mean, he was in tech really, but he wasn't in an engineering role that I wanted to go into. But like, they just gave me starting points, right? And I just had to figure out what I wanted to do. And when I started thinking like going in the cloud, what I started to do really, now I think about it, is reaching out to folks that's on LinkedIn. And I started connecting with them. I started going to like meetups on meetup.com. Bro, they talking about some shit at that time, when they was talking about using Nginx as a load balancer for Kubernetes. Bro, I'm just starting. I don't even know what none of that is, but I'm just there to act like I know, but just to shake hands afterwards, right, and get some advice. So, I mean, I would say, man, like over 100 people gave me just solid advice of where to go. And I ended up on a platform called Linux Academy. Because everybody said at that time it was a great platform to learn cloud, but it was so cheap. I was like, something got to be wrong with it. And I don't know if we're going here yet, but all right. So I created an account and I started just learning, like just taking certs, because people was like, hey, get your certification in AWS, you'll get a job. That's what they told me, and that's what I listened to. I got 3 AWS certifications after it was all said and done. And I used that platform to do it. And going into interviews, and they were interviewing me, asking me about third-party tools, monitoring and observation and, audits and all of this within the cloud. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. The certification never taught me that. So right then and there, I knew certifications were just a foundation and fundamental step. I really had to learn how to solve problems. And I came back like, damn, I was like, yo, I don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, well, just what did you remember out of the interview? Let's look at what they was talking about in the interview. Look at the JD, job description, for where you interview, and take those skills and tools and services that they ask you to have and try to see if you can solve problems. And I did that. And when I did that, I went back in and I got, actually, Linux Academy had a role open for a cloud training architect. All right. So this is what I did. I went in and I interviewed for that. I applied and I interviewed, and they gave me a demo to do to see if I could teach the stuff, right? And I could understand the technical part. And this demo pretty much scared the shit out of me because it was something I never did. Like, here I am, I performed in front of thousands of people. You know, I did music videos. I've went to conventions to sell sneakers with thousands of people and had conversations. But this little demo that was 5 minutes long I had to do scared the living shit out of me. And scared me to the point where I told my wife, I was like, I'm just going to call her back and tell him I appreciate the opportunity, but I don't think this is right for me. And she told me, she was like, if you don't get your scared ass in the living room and do this video, I'm going to smack you. And I did the video. And one thing I put in position was, I did the video. They came back and they said, the video was great. We loved it, but you don't have enough experience for this role. All of the training architects have 8 years of experience or more. So I was put in a position to pretty much say, well, your product don't work because you say your product can help people get into the industry. And if I don't have enough experience for anything that you have, how can somebody gain experience? You said your product was the product to give us experience. So what he did was this, not knowing that he already did this the day before. He said, but I love your hustle. I love that you went out there and got certified. I love that you were just passionate about what you're trying to do. I created a role for you yesterday. He's like, this is a technical AWS support role where I will be in the back end working on the production environment. So if something breaks, a student has an issue with, they can't get Terraform to deploy because of our environments, etc. I got to be the person that go through and fix this issue in our production environments and make the content right. And when he showed me the salary, I didn't give a shit what he wanted me to do. I was like, bruh, so you telling me this is what you made for me? And he was like, yeah. So he's like, take your time, think about it, and let me know tomorrow. Well, what did I know? He went on fucking vacation the next day. How you gonna tell me hit you up tomorrow? You going on vacation. So I'm sitting there for a week with my wife, like, yo, did he offer me this? Or do I got an interview for this joint again? And long story short, when he came back, we had another meeting, and he didn't really offer me the job in the meeting. He was just talking. And he was like, you got any questions? I was like, yeah, man, when do I start? And he was like, go ahead and tell your wife that you accepted a position at Linux Academy. And bruh, I ain't even finished my lunch. I went straight to the bank and put that 2 weeks notice in. Y'all lucky I don't leave this joint today. You lucky I don't walk out today. I'm telling you that right now. Don't make me mad because my black ass will be in the car today. You know what I'm saying?
Man, hey, hold on. How much was that salary, man? How much was that salary?
So he started me off with 90. So I went from 42K and plus bonuses, right? So I went from 42K to a total compensation package of 6 figures. I ain't gonna say overnight, but when I didn't think I was gonna get the job and he offered me another role that he created, yeah, that shit took me to the moon. I sat there and looked at the salary for a whole entire week while he was on vacation and just looking at how life was about to change, man. Because think about it, man. I was $20 an hour, $22 an hour, something like that. And, making ends meet. And, my wife was making a little bit less than that. So total combined salary, we was under 80K. And here I am, I'm making more than both of us in one job. So that shit changed our life.
For facts, man. And I like that you illustrate something that I tell people sometimes too. It's like, if a company like you, sometimes they'll make a role for you. If I was a preacher, this one, I'll get the organ. I'll tell somebody get on the organ and I'll start preaching right now and I'll start shouting. But no, when he told you about starting talking to your wife, that reminded me of getting my first job at Intel. It was like, I really only interviewed, I went to they had a job fair. And then I interviewed with the dude. He wasn't my manager, but I talked to him. He liked me. And then after that, I didn't hear nothing for a while. Followed up in late January 2017. And then he hit me up. I was hooping one day at LA Fitness, and I got a email from the other managers like, "Hey, when could you come up here?" And I was like, "Shoot, today." So I left the gym. I went up. I put on the suit all for like 5 minutes, no cap. And he was like, "Oh, when can you start?" I was like, "Today." I was the same way. I was like, "Hey, I can start today," because that raised my salary like from I was getting at the time like 25, so we're gonna say I was getting like 50K, and so that raised it from like 50 to like 75. And so then you couldn't tell me that. I was like, "Oh yeah, I could do some things now, man." I was happy, so I definitely understand that, and I'm glad that's like a real moment, because these people listening, if they're on their journey, they're gonna feel like they're one day too, and that's how it's gonna be for them. They're like, okay, this is because sometimes like how they cap. Ain't no way somebody went from making 42,000 now they making now 6 figures. I was like, no, it can happen because it's not about what you worth; it's about what you negotiate.
Yo, oh my God.
That's what
you don't get what you think you're worth. You get what you negotiate. And I mean, for me, I took that deal, right? I mean, I probably could have negotiated maybe, but I took the deal because it was just a life changer for me. But this is why I preach what I preach now. And this is why you preach what you preach. We did it. So like, I can't tell nobody that you can't do this. And I'm going to tell you this too. And I'm just going to be super transparent on how I feel about it. There's a lot of people in the industry that would tell you that you can't do it. And they'll say, well, I'm going to tell you why I can't do it, because you can't do it because it took me 5 years to get here. And by the time I got to this salary, I was already doing this and that. But that's you. That ain't me. You know what I'm saying? So
like, that's why I don't tell people to focus too much on my journey, because my journey, like you said, was my journey. If I knew back then what I know now, I could have scaled like way faster. So I tell people like, hey, you can do it. What you gotta do is gotta be more intentional. Now we have people like you, myself, other people on YouTube, people on TikTok, LinkedIn. There's a lot of resources. Back then, this stuff was gatekept. Ain't nobody tell nobody how to do this. We had to figure it out. That's where the big boom 3-4 years ago.
Yep. And that's the thing, right? Where when I got into cloud, one thing I did, I think that actually helped me too, was I was like, let me use all this stuff that I learned from banking, from music, from selling sneakers. I started to look at it like, yo, if I'm an artist, how am I make myself hot in these LinkedIn streets? Right? I'm an artist, right? How am I get myself hot? So I started just creating content to help people get motivated that was, behind me. I'm just learning this, but I know somebody probably behind me that don't know anything, that probably needs somebody a few steps ahead of them like me that can motivate them, say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you need to be doing. And I think from there too, that helped me get into the industry, but it also helped me brand myself to when I got into cloud, literally as soon as I jumped in and announced that I got a role, it was so many people that was coming to me asking me for help. And these were people that were in the industry already for 10 years, bro, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And my first question was like, what can I do for you? Because I think you should be helping me. But when I started to realize when it came to cloud computing in 2017, 2018, a lot of people were anti-cloud, but a lot of people just worked in a role and didn't worry about changing, worry about growing. And now cloud computing was coming in. It's a new wave of companies were taking on this new technology that was cost efficient and allowed them to, create disaster recovery scenarios. And they didn't know jack crap about it. So they came to me for help. And I was like, okay, let's see what we can do. And I started creating personal plans for people just off the rip for free. Like, hey, I'll sit with you. Let me create this personal plan for you. And it just got so overwhelming. I was like, yo, I'm spending a lot of time in the evening outside of my workday just working with people for nothing. And people were going on getting promoted and I didn't even get a thank you. So, oh, hell nah. Hell nah. She the one that put it in my head. It was like, you doing all this, you taking your time away from us. She was like, at least get something for it. And that's where at the time, it wasn't Level Up in Tech, but that's what Level Up with Broadus came into play, you know. So
segued into that because I'm gonna tie this back into Level Up in Tech, and then we'll actually get into Level Up in Tech some more. What did you learn from Linux Academy, A Cloud Guru that helped you with? Well, first, how was that experience, and then what helped you with deciding? Okay, I think I can also scale this on my own. Like pretty much, you're doing the same thing that they do, but now it's for you. So, how was that experience, and what did you learn?
So technically, when I'm working in there, right, and shout out to Linux Academy to give me my opportunity to get even production experience in the back end. But as I started to continue to brand myself on LinkedIn, and I started to continue just learning the in and outs of the business, what happened was I was starting to get a buzz on LinkedIn, and every time I fly into Dallas, where the headquarters were, they wanted me to come into the design and marketing meeting, and they would build marketing around me. It was like, hey, we got this new idea. We want to know if you can inject this into your LinkedIn stuff. And I'm like, so what's the check look like for that? Oh, no. I mean, you got your salary, we negotiated it. So this is what I was like, nah, so let me sit back and think on this. And I started to look at that platform had a lot of courses. So when you come in, right, it's a lot of courses. You could be whoever you want, right? But how do you become it, right? It's cloud engineering courses. It's these, tools that you need to use and need to learn how to solve problems with, and there's certification courses. But like, how do you do this step by step, right? How do you know you're putting the right plan together to foster a new career? How do you know that you're learning to be able to solve problems? What type of problems can you really solve? Like, what are they really solving in the industry right now that you can showcase and be like, I got it. I know this. And how do you showcase that? How do you interview with people to showcase that you're able to be an asset to them? All of these questions came into play that they couldn't answer. And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, the CEO sold it now. So my black ass went to him like a dummy and said, hey, this is what I see is missing on the platform. This is how we can continue to help. And my manager was like, nah, we're not going to go that route right now. And, pretty much stay in your lane. So I said, you know what? This is a niche that I see that they're not filling. And I see this all the time because I'm helping people one-on-one. I'm going to do it. You ain't going to do it? I'm going to do it. So I went to them. Hey, this is what I'm finna do. It's not a conflict of interest because it serves as, in this area, sign this contract. They signed the contract. And I think they signed the contract thinking like, it's just going to be how, yeah, they signed it. And like I said, Level Up Broadus was born January 2020. And we started, helping people from there. And that's the story.
Yeah, man. Hold on, let me give you a round of applause for that real quick. All right. So when it comes to Level Up in Tech, what separates Level Up in Tech from the other boot camps out there?
Yeah, so all honesty, right? I mean, we know there's other boot camps out there and programs out there, but we really focus on our strategy. We got a 6-step process where we help people come in with no technical background and end up landing a role. A lot of them end up landing a role within 90 days of graduating. And what we did is literally just patent my experience. And I took my experience and put it into a program. Like, these are the things I did. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did to help me get a job in 10 months. Right. And we started helping people become successful. So what we do is just focus on that 6-step process that we know works. We focus on branding, right? Like, for instance, this tech can be learned. What we focus on is mindset shift. You come in with the same mindset you had if you're a banker, you're not going to make it. You got to immerse yourself and challenge yourself to change your mind about how you solve problems. You can use the soft skills of the way you solve problems, but now we're solving totally different problems, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt learning these things, but you got to be open to accepting this way of learning. And then from that acceptance, you can create your own unique way after you learn it, right? So we start seeing more and more people become successful. And I think another thing that, we focus on is what I started to look at was, after the people we have become successful go on and get jobs and they work there for a while, I started to look at how can we scale the business and how can we have more great people that I feel like myself to help coach these folks to success. And one thing we could have done was I could get somebody that has 20 years experience in tech. But number one, it's two things. Number one, they couldn't tell you jack shit about going through level up in tech. Nothing. They couldn't tell you how you're going to feel. They can't tell you what you're going to experience. They can't tell you how to get through, problems that you're trying to solve. They can't tell you nothing about our process. And number two, they're so far ahead. I feel that sometimes we forget the lingo that is just basic to us is next level to someone else, that they just don't understand us. And we think we're talking normal. We think we're just giving it to them in bite-sized chunks and like, hey, these are the basics. And they still like, bro, what is that you just said? What is this? So we needed somebody that was just maybe a year ahead of someone, that they still understand what the street feel like, but yet they got their foot in corporate. And we started hiring those folks that were successful to come back. And that model has been working for us, where every single coach now that's in Level Up in Tech has been through the program. Every single person. I got a staff of 24.
Yo, that's fire, because that is one of the things like, well, how could I trust you if you haven't been through this? How can I believe you? And so that's I like that. I like that approach. I like that strategy. And it was something that you said that I want the key on. And what was it? I want to say it was about either your process on how you did it and how I got it. Mindset. Mindset is a big one that I talk about as well. Like when people come to me and they say, we had this conversation, I want to be a penetration tester, I want to be a SOC analyst, whatever. Specifically when it comes to SOC analyst, I have a pinned post on my LinkedIn, and this is for the listeners or the viewers right now. If you want to be a SOC analyst but you don't know what to do, go to my LinkedIn and look at their pinned post for those SOC analyst scenario questions and just take a stab at them. Those questions really make them think, because like you said early on in the interview about, you realize search just was going to help you solve problems. Like they're paying you to figure out this stuff and be able to diagnose it. The certification is cool, but it's mostly kind of like, if it's not a practical certification, it's kind of like when you were in school and you had to write down either your spelling words or dictionary, look up stuff in the dictionary. It's kind of like that. It's good to know, but it's not applicable yet. You have to figure out why these things are in here and why they make sense and how they tie in together. So that mindset shift is it, because I've worked with people whose mind has not shifted into being a SOC analyst. They can't think. That's literally like, for some jobs, like you have to be able to think. There are some jobs that are a little bit more mundane and remedial, where you're literally doing the same thing. It's a playbook. You just do this, and this, and you're done with it. But for other jobs, you got to think out of scope. You may get hit with something you never seen before. Like you were talking about back in 2017, 2018 about cloud computing. I remember I started my new job at Optiv in like 2018, and either the end of that year or early 2019. I remember I saw my first S3 bucket alert. I didn't have, a clue in the world what a S3 bucket was. So I had to go look at Amazon documentation and why it shouldn't be public and how to see if the public block access is put on it. I had to, learn all these things. And that's one of the things they're paying you for. It was a guy on LinkedIn the other day. He was trying to set up Sentinel and he couldn't figure out how to extract the raw log data. I gave him the answer because all I did was I typed in Google, how to extract the raw log data in Sentinel, and send them the stuff directly from Sentinel. I'm probably going to reach out to him. It's like, this isn't necessarily a good look, because if you were trying to convey to us that you want to work with us, you couldn't even figure that out on your own. And that's simple. And so that's one of the things you're talking about. Like, people ain't got time to tell you all the answers. I don't have the time. I have to spin and train on you. I can't do what I got to do. And that's what some people not understanding either when it comes to them trying to pivot over, especially being technical. It's like, hey, a lot of companies don't have resources just to train somebody for longer than a month or two. After that, you need to, if you can't do that, you're going to have a long day, you're going to be on a PIP, or you're going to be gone.
Yeah. And one thing, so I want to reiterate what you said too. When you say it's simple, right? You can't do something simple. This is what he mean, y'all. He don't mean if you can't solve that simple thing right then and there in your brain. What he mean is this: if you couldn't Google how to extract raw file in Sentinel, then what are you here for? Like Google, it's like, so I think a lot of us are scared to use those resources because you're scared of what it's going to make you look like. We use it every day. I don't care if you've been in tech 20 years, you're going to use it every day because it's some things that you just haven't used that you need to understand how. So if you're in a role or if you're trying to get into a role, use Google, use those resources, use those documentations, because that's going to show that you're self-sufficient and trying to figure out how to solve the problem. Now, one thing you can do, if let's say if you looked up something on Google and it didn't work, now you have a base of what you tried so far. Now you can say, hey, Mr. Manager, hey, Mr. Lead Supervisor, Lead Tech, this is what I try to accomplish. This is what I expected the end result to be, but this is the error I got. And this is what I researched about the error, and this is what I tried, and it's still not working. Can you point me in the right direction on what may be the problem? That's great. But you cannot just not try anything and then ask a question, hey, this ain't working. Okay, tell us what you tried so far. I mean, I ain't tried nothing yet. That gonna get you on the PIP. That gonna get your ass out of there quick.
And free game. Like he was talking about. I call it this: exhausting all options. Go through Confluence or wherever type of documentation you guys look through all the documentation. List it out. Tell the principal guy, hey, I tried this, and this, and it's not working. For a fact, I did this at Octave a lot with our principal guy when I was trying to solve something. I said, hey, I did all this, I did this documentation, but my search isn't working right, or I'm not coming to what I need to. Now, I didn't start off knowing all these answers, but then I started getting them. He would say, hey, you got time for a quick Zoom? And he would show me, because I was the only one coming to him, having the issue and saying I did all this stuff, and he was helping me. Some of the other people were just not reaching out to him at all. He used to actually say, hey, tell them guys if they got issues, reach out. And what this also did was, because y'all think when y'all interviewing, they looking for somebody who know it all. Newsflash, they not. They just looking for somebody who know enough, who can catch on fast, who's a good fit for the team. Telling you for real, straight up. That principal engineer went on to always advocate for me and tell people, hey, he's the guy on the team to reach out to, which started giving me more confidence. And then in the client was like looking out for me to where in 2019, I got to go to Burbank and sit with the client because they requested me to come to meet them. So all this came from just putting in the work, not knowing everything, but doing my best and getting better at it once it was something I didn't know, but I was trying hard. So like, that's the thing. Like, you can't just like, I was a pet peeve of mine. Hey, can you help me with this? I'm like, or do not do this. I had an analyst who used to do this all the time. He would ask us for help, but wouldn't take notes. So he'd be asking us the same thing the next day. I'm like, it got to a point where I just started ignoring him on Teams. I'm like, I'm not answering that. I'm not, because I already know what this is going to do. Right. And he's not going to write it down.
Yep. They're drowning. And just like people who drown that can't swim, they're grabbing onto you. And if you try to help them, they're going to drown your ass too. They're not even listening to you when you say, hey, listen, kick your legs. They're panicking. And what they do is some people take advantage of you. Like, hey, I'm going to hit Broadus up. He got the answer. I ain't even going to try to figure it out. So that's just how it works sometimes, man.
Reminded me of, it's a dude on Twitter that's always he tags a couple of us. He's like, he tags, like the other day it was like me, Beast, my guy Tavion, and my other guy Aiken. And he was like, hey, what's the entry level search to get? None of us answered him. I put in my close friends. I was like, bro was finna get blocked. I was like, I have a whole free ebook that's in the link of my bio. It says, hey, you want to get in cybersecurity? Click here. Not a lot of people, that used to piss me out too. A lot of people will not click the link and they'll try to send me a message. I'm like, bro, did you click the link? But the questions you asking, I've answered already. I've answered them. I don't have time to answer these things no more. Right. And they don't want to answer.
So, look, that's the thing y'all got to understand. If you come into something for mentorship, you come into a boot camp, come into some type of coaching program, right? Understand whether you invest in time, money, or time and money, you invest in that to do it the process that they have been successful doing it with. If you come into their process and then try to change it to do it your way, understand that's not going to work because you don't know how to do it. And the only thing that's going to help you is immersing yourself once again in this, changing your mind to say, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm open to learning different things that's going to help me excel. And I may be scared to research this stuff and try things on my own, but let me put my foot out my comfort zone and do it. Can I promise you, once you do it once, you do it twice, you do it 3 times, it becomes second nature to you. And if you can do that for yourself, you'll put yourself in a position that when you get into your role, you'll see people who became complacent that's been there 2, 3, 4 years, and you'll outwork them and even know more than what they know right now. They'll come to you and ask you questions about working with Terraform or working with whatever. And you like, hold on, man, you've been here for 4 years, you don't know how to work with Terraform? Nah, I ain't never worked with it. So keep that mindset because that's going to help you be successful, man. Like, ain't nothing, if you don't have that mindset, ain't nothing no one can tell you that's going to help you take it to the next level because you'll be sitting there stuck because you think you know all the answers, but you really don't. And you're coming to someone for help and you're just too scared or just too stubborn to try it. And you're going to be on your own way. And that's where the failure lies because people are in their own way and they don't want to open up and get out their own way.
That's facts, man. I want to ask how many people has Level Up in Tech helped so far? Like a rough estimate.
So rough estimate, about 800, I believe 800 people came through our program. Right now we have a average successful graduation rate of almost, I want to say 67%. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm just being super transparent. When you see these boot camps out here, they talk about 92% graduation rate, 97% graduation rate. It's 2 things that can happen, right? One is pure bullshit, right? Or number 2, they built a model where they're charging you for however long it takes you. So let's say, for instance, like use and nothing against them, but using like the Western Governors University model, right? You get a bachelor's in cloud computing, you pay every semester, you pay every 6 months. So if somebody needs to take 6 months to do this and they complete it in 6 months, but you have taken now 2 years, they allow you to do that. So if somebody says they have a 97% graduation rate, then you should ask out of how much time, right? Did you allow them to do it? Is this 6 months? Is this a year? Is it 2 years? Or, are you allowing them to extend every time they need more time? Because there's so many variables that come into play with people being successful. Like, and I'm going to be super transparent with y'all. Like, you got to understand with Level Up in Tech, just from our company, we deal with a lot of things. Like, we deal with a lot of people who have problems at home that we tend to sometimes take on those problems and we want to help. Right? Not saying we don't have to, right? But it's so many variables, right? Somebody just has anxiety at home and they're depressed, right? Somebody's pregnant, right? Somebody lost a loved one. Somebody's sick. Somebody got in a car accident. Somebody dealing with kids' custody issues. Somebody's dealing with something that's keeping them from being successful, right? So when a company tell you 97% success rate, so you mean to tell me out of every 100 people, you only have 3 that drop out? I don't believe that based on my experience working in this business, right? Be honest with you, if you do your research, out of online learning and training, that means platforms, that means college and universities, that means boot camps and programs, there's a 5 to 20% success rate. So that means out of 100 people, only 5 to 20 of them actually make it through and graduate in a certain period of time of 6 months to a year. Well, it's fast paced. That's what we're talking about. So if you got a program that's telling you even if they're getting 40%, 50% success graduation rate, that is good numbers. You know, I wouldn't do anything for 20% or 15%, but these are the real numbers that companies are not really talking about. And I think we pride ourselves on our numbers because we are fast paced and we have other options now that we allow guests to, and we call our students guests. We allow our guests to, take longer time, but within our fast paced program, we are getting results. And if you go on LinkedIn, Level Up in Tech, go on my page, ask anybody that's been in the program, you'll see that we're actually taking people from no technical background to cloud roll in 6 months. Actually, we just posted someone today that went through it. So, I wanted to break it down for y'all because a lot of people will come into a program and expect miracles, right? So the thing is, if you expect miracles out of program, you damn sure better be ready to be a miracle worker yourself, right? If you want this in a certain amount of time, it don't work unless you work, right? We can give you the magic. We can give you the fountain of youth right here and say you're gonna be, you're gonna live to you 500 years old, and you're gonna look like you're 20. But if you don't drink it, it ain't never gonna happen. If you don't get out your head and follow the process, it ain't never gonna happen. So I know that was a long-winded answer to your. I just want to keep it real
because you already answered the second question that I had, so you already covered that one, so that was perfect. So this will make me move into a question, I guess, just for the listeners who are inquiring about either getting into the cloud or maybe your program. What would you say would be the basic foundational level skills needed to get started in the cloud?
First of all, understanding what is cloud, right? Understand how that works. And once you get, and it could be basic, right? Like you don't have to, before I answer that question, I'm going to say this. You don't have to be an expert in this thing before you move forward. All right. Some people think they got to understand completely everything about what the cloud is, how it works, how it operates, how it impacts businesses around the world before they take the second step. Just understand what is cloud computing, right? Look at what cloud computing service provider you want to learn, right? America, we have three major ones that are Microsoft, that's Google, and that's AWS, right? We got some private cloud companies as well, but typically you won't have a platform to learn on them because companies use them privately. But AWS, Microsoft, and Google. Pick one. It don't matter, right? Which one's better? Which one? It doesn't matter. Learn one. All right. And the first thing you need to learn is, I would say, is server foundations, whether you're using Microsoft Windows or whether you're using Linux, and understanding a little bit of networking that goes with that. Right. So if you can pick a cloud, learn the server foundations, or both, right? Learn Microsoft and Windows, because I think Google actually got a course where they teach you those fundamentals as well. And then you learn some networking essentials. You can start taking this thing everywhere. You can go cloud engineer, DevOps engineer, systems admin, Linux admin. You can go into security. You can do whatever with those basic things right there to start your journey.
That's dope, man, because a lot of people don't know where to start. And they, like I said, they focus on the paperwork first versus the actual skills needed to do the job. And that's, I'm big on, hey, every time someone asks me, oh, what certs I need to do, or this or that, I say, you asking the wrong question. You should say, what skills I need to know how to do in order to, like, if you, let's say, if you wanted to cook some food, you ain't gonna say like, what to put the heat on first. You're gonna actually say what ingredients I need. What utensils I need, what type of chopping board, all these different, what do I need to make this burger, right? Like, just keep it simple, like the KISS method. If you just keep it simple, like you said, look over the job description. It's going to give you pretty much the game plan on what you need to learn. Look over 5 or 10 of them, see what skills keep on reoccurring, and try to learn it that way. If that don't work on your own, which is my next question, is you need to go get a structured path. I just made that post. I saw you like it the other day. It's like, hey, you can either be YouTube University, Udemy University, or be a structured learner. You could be either or a mix of both. So over the last couple of years, we've seen so many people talk down on people paying for these courses or boot camps. So I was like, or even coaching. You see it all the time on Twitter. I'm like, I've seen a lot of people that was doing YouTube University that's still in the same place they was in 3 years ago.
Yo, listen, preach about that, bro, because that's one thing we want to. I'm glad you addressed that because I want to talk about that too, right? So this is a thing, all right. Regardless of you dealing with a coach, program, boot camp, whatever you want to call it, we're so keen on trying to get stuff for free, and there's awesome free resources out there, right? However, those things are free. What you have to understand, if you come to an entity or you come to a person for help with your career, the price is the price, right? And let me break it down even further, right? Let's say a program like Level Up in Tech, right? We have coaches that work for us. All right. So let's say you're one of those coaches. Are you gonna do this shit for pennies on the dollar? Or are you gonna say, my time is valuable? I'm not working for nobody for no small check. Right? So if you're gonna say that if I'm going to be a coach in a program, they're gonna have to pay me good, then that means that program has to charge adequate amount of funds to be able to get you that good help. Right? You can't complain like, oh, these programs, $2,000, $3,000, Well, listen, let's talk about this. It's going to make a lot of people mad. People talking about programs even $9,000, $10,000. But hey, you just paid a university 40 to 50 and you ain't even using your degree. You paid a university $40 or $50,000 only for you to be in a tech network group trying to figure out how to get into tech. So what's the real cost here, right? So even if it's free, you got to still have the understanding that you're going to invest something. That means your time. And if y'all not disciplined enough to even invest your time to even work the free stuff out, then you better start thinking about like, hey, is this really for me? Because this is free and you still stuck in the same place. Maybe you need the mentorship, the kick in the ass, the guidance, the real structured path to help you move to the next level. And the price is going to be the price. You can't be mad at it because this is what it costs to keep the boat running, to train you, to coach you. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you just got to look at it like this. If you go into your job right now, whatever you making, and let's say their customers say, hey, if your job sells something, your company sells something, that product needs to be cheaper. But that means that company need to pay you less to come to work. You going to go to work with half a paycheck? So I'm glad you segmented to this because I wanted to really just be super transparent about, what we start thinking in tech and what we're expecting from mentors, even like yourself, like myself, other coaches out here. They're not, listen, we're here to help and we're here to change the world, but understand we're taking time away from our loved ones and our family and other things we want to do to sit with you to be able to help you get a bag. You get a bag for you to say, what? All right, man, appreciate it. Nah, man, we want something out of this too. We want to grow and be able to help our family out by helping you as well. That's what it is.
Well, actually, I'm going to bring that up after this because I think I have something else good for the hot take section. This is also a random question right here. So 2 years ago, I read the article that says you scale to 100K business. So now it's been 2 years since then. I was going to say, is it safe to say that your business has made you a tech millionaire now?
Yeah, it has. That's what it is. That's what we're doing it for, right? Where we want to help people change their lives. And in result, we get to change ours as well. So I'm always been an advocate of you don't get what you want until you help other people get what they want. And we built this company where, obviously a lot of people see the value in it. And we want to continue to show the results that we've been. And I think out of all the cloud programs or boot camps out there, we're the only ones that's showing results the way we're showing them. And that's fact. I mean, y'all can say blah, blah, blah. Any competitors that's listening can say whatever they want. I'm not trying to compete, but I'm just saying we're showing results. So if, if you want people to see the value in your program, you should probably do the same as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I told you when we first talked weeks ago, I was like, you're the only pretty much program that I have not seen any bad comments about. I mean, and I'm talking about like we know people can be disgruntled because they didn't do their part of the deal, but I'm talking about if it's widespread, people feel a certain way, then that's normally when okay, maybe there's more than meets the eye. Maybe there's some Decepticons over here, but I've never seen that about Level Up in Tech, and so that was one of the reasons why I always wanted to get you on because I was like, this is a stand-up program who's giving you guys a steal. Because I told him myself on the phone, I was like, nah, I think y'all need to up it for the return on investment people are getting. I think y'all need to up it because, like you said, people will go spend $30,000-$40,000 at school and not learn nothing. They just learn how to pass tests. Yeah, and let's take on they did 2 years and got a master's and spent more money. And this is coming from a person who, unfortunately, well, my thing was a little different. I went back to a master's because I was working and I was bored. And my plans was always to do the tuition reimbursement. But I ended up leaving one company and then getting laid off the other one before I was eligible to do it. So that's a little bit different. I was trying to be strategic in there, but that's how life kind of played that out. But for the most part, I tell people all the time on calls, they was like, do you think I should just get a master's? And my mom's like, if you can get somebody to pay for it, cool. But it's not necessarily going to just help you get whatever job you want. It might cut down on the experience needed, but I'm not going to just advocate for it. Although I do think the structure of a master's program is better than a bachelor's because in the master's, you actually do things that you may do for whatever job you want. Bachelor's is not necessarily like that. I do like master's more because master's, most of the time people who actually have jobs are already in a master's program and it's easier to work with or you understand the technology. And so I did take a lot of those skills I got from my master's program into my roles with me now, which is one of the reasons that helps me stand out among everybody else that's there.
And I definitely agree with you, right? Like a lot of people are on like, hey, college degree. Do I need a college degree? Listen, do what you need to do to get into the role and then get them to pay for your college degree. Period. If you're going to stay there, get them to pay for the college degree. I would say, just to backtrack, companies, whether Level Up at Tech or any other coaches, they can't help everyone. They won't, what I say is they won't be able to please everyone. Somebody's going to be mad about something. And unfortunately, you're going to have those folks on there talking about it, right? So one thing, we know this as a business, we know we can't please everyone, but what we try to do is take what they say and improve. We are a DevOps shop. DevOps is about improvement. Infinity loop, always improving, always improving. So if we can't take what they say and improve on it for the next person, we'll continue to have those problems. But, once again, just because if you're thinking about creating your own company or being a coach or whatever as well, you got to look at, if they ain't talking about you, you ain't doing something. So you can't focus on what people have negative to say about you. You can only focus on getting better and focusing on what's working for you. And I think, in all, that's what makes our shop different from everyone else. I think we're relatable. People see me out here and I'm not a person that just talking like I'm above anybody. I'm like, listen, we make millions. Guess what? You can make it too. And you could probably make more. That's the whole gist of the game, right? We need to take the information that it's taken us years to learn and be able to give to somebody to help them reach the same goals in, weeks, months, whatever the case may be. This is what ChatGPT is out there for, not to cheat, but to help accelerate your learning where all this information that's taking people years to build upon, you can now ingest it and make it work for you in the next 5 minutes. That's what this is all about. And that's our goal.
And now this is a little fun segment real quick. I want to give you some hot takes that you may want to get into. I want to ask you,
all right,
what's some stuff that you want to get off on here that you can't necessarily say on LinkedIn?
Oh, man. I would say, I just said it, one of them where, I'm going to be truly transparent. Like, I don't like when people just come into this industry and just search for free. Because how are you going to not invest anything in yourself, but you want a company to invest six figures? And you ain't investing nothing into yourself, right? Once again, there are free resources out here that are great, but eventually you got to look at yourself as, am I taking this shit seriously? What can I invest in myself? Listen, you can buy the skills. And what I mean is you can sit there and invest 2-3 years in YouTube channels, or you could pay somebody to help you do it in 6 to 9 months. Or you could pay a mentor with one-on-one consultation like Henry does and help you, 2-3 months, wherever stage you're at, to get into it, right? If you need tweaks, oh, okay, he told me I need to do this. I got the job, right? But it's going to cost you. That man ain't free. That man ain't sitting down with nobody for free. That man, listen, you see where he at, right? He in a room. That means he got a house or something. That means he got bills to pay for. All the electricity going off in the back. Got bills, right? So that means he don't have time. And kids. That means he ain't got time to sit with you for free to help you and your partner and your kids level up in life, and you don't give them anything, right? So I think we need to stop with that narrative and really just ask ourselves, how much do we believe in ourselves? Because if you searching for free, and you don't want to invest anything in yourself, that just tells us that you don't believe that you can do it, and you don't want to waste the money, because if you spend the money, you're not going to be consistent in getting the job done. So you're looking for something that's low investment. So when you do quit on yourself, it's a settle that you're willing to walk away from. Oh, I ain't putting no money into it, so I'm good. Because you're gonna quit on yourself, because this is what this all about. Number two, there will be haters everywhere. People gonna talk about you no matter what. Listen, I don't reply to nobody that speaks negative about us on social media platform, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm gonna give them that energy. If I'm getting that energy and respond back to them, that's exactly what they want. What we're going to put that energy into, what you should put that energy into, is just being successful. Keep going with your day, leveling the fuck up. Excuse my language, but leveling the fuck up. Ain't nobody out here playing. It's money to get. Your life can change in the next few months if you just do what the fuck you supposed to do. Your life can change. Your family life can change. Everybody talk about, I got to do this for my kids. I got to do this for my mom and my daddy. I just want to, and then it gets hard in 2 weeks and you quit. Where that why at that you was talking about a couple of weeks ago? And then you let people talk you out of it. It's going to be people out here that's going to tell you, ain't no way you can do what you think you about to do because I couldn't do it. You got to get those people out of your circle. Don't pay no attention to people who come on platforms to talk about how their life was impacted negatively. And it's no way that you can do that. And the people that tell you that you can do that are predators in the industry. Trust me, we see what's going on. Like people that have programs, people that are coaches that can tell you, hey, you can do this in this amount of time. It's people out there that going to tell you those people are predators because they told you can have success. They feeding you false hope. They're feeding you false lies. There's no way that you can go from zero experience to making high paying role, 90, 100K in tech. Let me tell you this. We had somebody who was a nurse that came in her first tech role and got 165K her first role. Now, will that be you? Probably most likely not, right? But it's possible. You don't tell me about what's possible if we seeing it every day. So believe what you hear or believe what you see. The choice is yours. That's what I wanted to say.
Nah, that's dope. And you brought up a big point. You were talking about your circle. And when you get into tech and then actually start moving up and start making more money, it's very imperative that your circle probably has to change, unfortunately, because you have to, for example, it's hard when you're making upwards of $150,000 or more, and then some of your old friends are still maybe $60,000, maybe $80,000, and they can't fathom you saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a role where my base is 220 or something." They can't fathom it. They can't fathom, and I've said this before, but one of my friends, I made the video about how when I quit my JP Morgan job, that video is titled like, "Hey, I quit my 175K job. And then, man, he was like, for that money, I would stay. I was like, well, that's why we different. You know, that's why you work where you at. That's why I work where I at. Like, that's why it's like, it's different. I don't focus like anybody can just get paid somewhere and stay there. But if you know the skills you need that'll take you to the next level, you're not going to get them there. There's no reason for me to stay there. And right. And so that's why it's always good to have people that know what that feels like. So you could be around them. If you get around those people, you'll prosper. Like people like close friends of mine are like either in engineering or detection engineering, or they have their own companies, and we just talk about different things. And so when we mention like salaries or money, it's like, man, shoot, get it. They throwing the bag out there. Like, it's cool. So you gotta change that. You know, I got a buddy, shout out to Tay, man. Tay is about 5 years younger than me. We've been knowing each other about six years now, I think like 6 years. And he's always getting jobs with like that's paying like obscene level of money. And you know, if you were to tell somebody who's making 30K about, you know, what he makes or what you make, they would not believe it. They might, right? They couldn't fathom it. They probably would try to get there, or they would just tell you you're stupid because why would you leave that? Like, that's a lot of money. Think about it like before your mind was expanded about, hey, if I could just make 50. Like, I remember back in the day, I was like, shoot, if I could make 80. Because like life, you know, I come from parents who probably never made more than maybe $50,000 put together, maybe back in the day. So if I ain't never see that, and that's one of the things too. Like, this ain't one of the political podcasts, but we like to be transparent. That's one of the reasons why the hood is the way it is. And they saw people that was teachers and other type of jobs struggling. So whatever their auntie or grandma or somebody had, that's like the maximum bare minimum for them. They's like, I'm good. You know, if I can get this, I can get my food stamps. I can get on Medicaid. I can do all this. So I'm good. I don't need nothing else. And that's why it stays like that. So that's one of those things where you have to get exposure. And that's one of the things, the issue when I said about diversity, the reason why it's lacking is because exposure. And that's what this podcast also aims to do, exposure. Now, some of you watching this right now would have never met this man that's on screen. And now you got to say, oh, man, I could be like him. I'm in banking right now. I'm ready to quit. How can I do what you do? Right.
All you got to do hard work and put your mind to it. And it's funny that you say that, man, because it's two things, right? I want to say when I was getting into tech and I got that first role where the total compensation was over 100, I told my mama. My mama said, just be careful because, you know, it's a lot of scams out here. And you sure it ain't a scam? And I was like, Mom, it's a job. What are you talking about, a scam? Because she couldn't fathom that, bro, like I was making $20, $21, $22 an hour. She couldn't fathom that I was going from the local bank in the area to now I was making that money and I was at home. You know what I'm saying? And then when I started building Level Up in Tech and I started putting my content out there and stuff like that, bro, people was coming to me. This is no lie, y'all. I'm not even on front. I'm not exaggerating or anything. People would come to me and be like, man, I heard you was involved in some pyramid schemes, man. Like, pyramid schemes, bro? Like, what? I'm out here helping people get into an industry that none of us really know about. And I think because where I'm from and we don't really know about the technology and understand the tech industry, it was foreign to some people. And when I try to help people do it, and they didn't understand why I was helping Johnny, why I was helping Marcus, why I was helping, Susie. So since they didn't understand it, they got to be involved in some pyramid schemes, shit or something. I don't even know what they're doing. Hey, bro, what that thing Broadus doing? You got to, I don't even know. Don't ask me, bro. That don't look scamish to me. Like, what? That's crazy, bro.
I kind of started. Like when I first started 2020, I used to post a lot of my content on my Facebook. I actually used to go live on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I stopped because I realized that wasn't my demo. Like, these are people from the hometown. If they never really are going to support me, some of them don't want anything better for themselves. So there's no reason for me to even put that level of effort in talking to them. And that's why I just left them and focused on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, because that's one of the things too. It's like It's crazy how people you've never met will support you more than people you know in your whole life. They will pay the full price and not ask for no type of discount. I had a guy. It's a, and I'm getting her on the pod too, man. I'm gonna send you her TikTok, man. She keep it so thorough. I gotta get her on. I think her real name is Jamisha. I gotta double check, but her TikTok name is Tech Creativity. And a guy asked about getting a resume or something done, and she said, "Oh yeah, hey, reach out to Textual Chat. He got you." I had seen a strike notification. I was in Vegas at the time. Dude paid. We never talked, but just somebody who didn't know me, and he paid whatever was on the site. So it's just like I tell people now, if you're an entrepreneur or you trying to do something, like just focus on who your client is. Like if they complain about your price, they're not your ideal client. You know, we don't go complain to Mercedes and everybody about, hey, this Maybach too high. You're not their client. Go get your Corolla. Ain't nothing wrong with Corolla either, but you're not their client. They not finna come down their prices for you.
That's funny, man, because we see it, and I will add to you too is you're doing something. Let's say if you are creating a business, right? Don't let people that's local or family change your business model. Oh man, if you do this, man, we probably rock with you, man. Or if you do this and bring this, or if you start, selling this, I'll probably buy a whole lot. Because soon as you change your business model to please those people, nobody gonna show up for you, and you're gonna be broke. So focus on the niche that you know you can solve the problem, and eventually, those people that say pyramid scheme or whatever they doing is a scam, gonna come and they see so many people be successful with it, they're gonna come and say, "Hey man, I'm trying to talk to you about your program, man. I'm tired of this." Trust me. Whatever you got going on, keep focus on. No, go ahead.
Hey, or sometimes they will never do it because it's you. It's because it's you. It's because it's you saying it, and they won't do it because you'll see that with friends, family. They'll listen to anybody else, but you tell them they're not gonna listen, and that's one thing you got to accept too. I had to accept it. I'm saying, hey, I got friends. I realized, hey, this group chat is about this, and this. I said years ago, hey, if y'all want to help get in cyber or something, like, let me know. Or you see them complain about their job and everything, but you're right here saying, hey, I can help you.
They won't take it.
All right, and so I just stopped. I said, they want to be who they want to be. I got to accept that. And that's what you're going to accept too. Because think about it. It's so good when you're in the meeting and you see a lot of people that look like you or women that look like you, and y'all can, in the team chats and the memes you were seeing like through the phone and stuff, like it's just cool, like the environment. Like it sucks when you're the only black person on the team. When you don't have a black manager, like, it's just different. Sometimes they know how to manage your style and how you operate, or certain jokes don't fly, and that's the thing. Like that could be whole other episodes when we talk about that. I want to try to wrap some of this up real quickly. Like far as what would be some things that you want to leave the guests with? Like what would be like maybe top 3 things or whatever you want to leave the guests, the viewers with today?
So whatever it is you want to be in tech, you can be it, right? One thing you have to understand, in order to be it, you need people around you that are doing it. And the third thing is, once you surround yourself with people that are doing it, right? If you don't have money to invest, find a way where you can bring them value so they can give you that same value to take you to the next level. Or you got to look at, if I want these people around me and I want to learn from them, then I got to understand that their time is valuable as well as I value mine. And whatever the cost is the cost. Because at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, are you worth it? And if you think you are, then it's no amount of time and no amount of money that can keep you from being successful. Because in the end, it will all be value and worth it for you. But if you don't think you're worth it, then you're not going to make it anyway. So, believe in your dreams, reach out, ask the questions. I know there's more than 3, but, if you can believe it, you can achieve it, and that's real talk. If God put the dream in your heart, He already gave you the tools and resources to be successful. You just got to utilize them. That's it.
Man, Man. You know, in the words of Deontay Wilder, speak it, believe it, receive it. Y'all already know how I'm getting down with the pod. I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. We're on episode 98. We got 2 more. Episode 100. Probably have a giveaway coming up pretty soon for that. Also, you guys saw in the last podcast that I was right that my boy Boogeyman Bud is the undisputed champion at 147 pounds, and he 2-time undisputed. And you know, he had a fish fry with the big fish, you know, Earl Spence. And yeah, man, a lot of people don't know.
He got them boys scared though. He got Charlo boys scared, man.
Yeah.
You know,
as Charleston White say, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Like before I started this channel, like I'm really a huge boxing fan, so I actually have a older channel that's like where I used to do boxing. It's one of the ways how I got better at doing this content. There are a lot of trial and error on that channel over there. I may start it back up. It's just a lot to do. But I appreciate y'all for rocking me. Oh yeah, check it out. Subscribe to the Patreon. The Patreon will also serve as a buffer for memberships now. So if you want coaching, but you want to be coaching like on a retainer, your retainer coaching, you know, join the Patreon. I got you. It's going to come with some perks for sure. Also, just share this out. If you're looking to get into Level Up in Tech, we're going to have some links pinned in the comments for you, so you can go ahead and get that cloud career started. But like I always say, until next time, it's your boy HD. Let's stay textual, and we out.